All right. So today, I want you to imagine your favorite social media creator posts one final video and announces that they're leaving the internet forever. No more updates, no more live streams, and no more content to look forward to. Um, I want to ask, how would you feel? Imagine that you wake up that day and you see that there's no more content. For millions of individuals, this is how they feel about their favorite creators. And they make that emotion feel very real and internalize it and be like, that is the person that I look up towards, and now they're gone. And these connections, as we know, aren't new, but social media has made them more powerful than ever. Hello, today my name is Philip, and today I want to introduce parasocial relationships. And to better understand this, I looked at psychological research, academic studies, and information from trusted health organizations. And today I'll break down why parasocial relationships are, why they happen, how they can impact our mental health, and how social media has changed the way we connect with the celebrities. To understand why these relationships are powerful, we first need to understand what they are. According to the Encyclopedia of Brionica, parasocial relationships is an emotional connection with a media figure who is unaware of their very existence. Even though the relationship is not mutual, the emotions people experience can still feel very real. And if I were to compound on top of that, and we ask, why do these happen? Why do people formulate parasocial relationships? And according to an article by Psychology Today, it points to our brains of evolving to reorganize familiar faces and voices because of repeated interactions, and historically meant someone was a part of our community. And our brains do not fully separate seeing someone regularly online from interacting with someone in real life. And because of this, repeated exposure can create feelings of familiarity, trust, emotional attachment. This is why watching someone's content for years can almost make it seem like you know them in real life, even though you have never met them. And however, parasocial relationships are not automatically unhealthy. They can provide entertainment, motivation, comfort, inspiration, and many people find encouragement from creators who share their experiences, especially during stressful or even lonely times. And I also want to say this, saying that now that we understand why parasocial relationships can form, we also have to look at the connections and how they affect to mental health. And according to the Cleveland Clinic, parasocial relationships are relationships that can help reduce loneliness, especially for people who feel isolated or are experiencing difficult situations. Watching someone who shares personal struggles or creates enjoyable content can make the individual feel more understood. And in fact, I want to give an example to help better visualize this. And if we look at, there's a popular K-pop group named BTS. Their community has a great shared connection with each other, and they organize global charity campaigns. Let me try to show the image of BTS. But we also simultaneously have to acknowledge that not all the time these connections or personal relationships can be good. And I would like to introduce a singer. Her name is Enya Matsuoka, and she experienced this when an obsessed fan tracked her home address by zooming in on her selfie and found a train station reflected in her pupils. And according to Hoffner and Bond 2022 research published in the Current Opinion, in psychology, relying too heavily on these one-sided bonds can contribute to severe loneliness, social anxiety, and less face-to-face interaction. And this is just these were mostly viewed through movies, television, magazines, and fans admired this. I mean, they admired them. They looked at them at a high pedestal, and they had limited access to their personal lives. And unlike traditional celebrities, today's creators invite us into their everyday lives. They vlog their mornings, they live stream for hours and answer comments and share personal stories. And over time, it can start to feel less like watching a stranger and more like catching up with someone that you know. And to also continue off of that, in fact, according to the University of Utah Health, frequent updates and personal storytelling strengthen these emotional connections. And because viewers feel included in a creator's life, social media algorithms make this effect even stronger by continuously recommending content for creators people already enjoy. And while other communities can be positive in maintaining, healthy boundaries to these social media creators, it is important to recognize that sometimes parasocial relationships can be healthy and they cannot be. And following creators can be enjoyable, but it should not replace friendships, family relationships, and real world experiences. After looking at psychology behind parasocial relationships and their effects on mental health, and the role social media plays in strengthening them, we can see why these connections are such an important part of modern life. And at the end of the day, you know, parasocial relationships have become an important part of modern community, our modern communication and online culture. And today I broke down what parasocial relationships are, why they happen, how they can affect mental health, and how social media has made these connections stronger. And so the next time you open YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or any social media platform and feel like you feel like the person on the other side of the screen, like you know them internally, just remember that feeling is natural. It happens to the best of us, and that's just something how our brain works. However, simultaneously, you must invest in the voices that talk with you and not just the creators who talk at you. Thank you.